Dear listeners of the AUIB FM 101.5, welcome to the Student Voice Show and the Student Spotlight segments. Today we are excited to welcome two outstanding law students, Afnan and Tabarak, in our Student Spotlight segments of the Student Voice Show. They achieved a remarkable milestones in the international Jessup competition after competing in the national rounds in Iraq, and their team qualified for the international rounds in Washington, D.C. And they made their university proud by winning the prestigious Best Oralist Award twice a time, and with each of them securing the first and the second place in the category. Through this achievement, they have proven the excellence of the American University of Iraq, Baghdad, and the international legal competitions. Today, we will dive into their inspiring journey, exploring the challenges they faced and how they prepared for the competition and the personal and academic benefits they gained from this experience. So welcome Afnan and Tabarak, and we are thrilled to hear your inspiring story. Welcome Afnan and Tabarak in the Student Voice Show and the Student Spotlight segments.
Thank you so much. Welcome to you. We're very happy to be here.
Okay, first I want both of you to introduce yourself for the listeners and the followers through social media. So the mic is yours.
So first of all, good morning. I am Tabarak Radif. I am a student at AUIB College of Law, currently a senior student. I also used to work as a senior public relations officer in a law firm in Iraq. And I'm one of the best oralists in the Jessup competition of the national rounds, and I'm pretty excited to be here.
Okay, you're welcome. And now?
Thank you for having us here. My name is Afnan and I'm senior at law school here at AUIB, and I'm also a member of the American Society of International Law and one of the team members of the Jessup moot court competitions and the first best orals in this competition.
Okay, Afnan and Tabarak, first of all, for those who are unfamiliar, could you explain what is the Jessup competition is and what's the benefits it's provide to the participants?
So, Jessup competition is basically a virtual moot court. You get a virtual case, which is a fake case that you study and learn, research, and it is very beneficial for students, not only for the competition itself, but for their future career as well. Okay. Because when you are doing the practical work of actually studying, working, researching, you are putting much work that in the future you're going to put in your career as a lawyer or as a legal researcher, for example. So it goes through first the national rounds, and then the international rounds and the finals of the international round to crown the world champion, which we are quite optimistic to get this.
Well, that's good. What about you, Afnan? What's the meaning of Jessup for you?
This is the second time I participate in this competition, so it means a lot to me, especially that I participated last time in the international rounds and I saw how real legal life works in the United States. I actually really loved it, especially when it comes to advocating on matters that include, like, for example, human rights situations and international law. It actually motivated me even more to be a member, for example, at the American Society of International Law, where I gained a lot of experience when it comes to international law and various principles of international law.
Okay, so now I have to say congratulations for both of you on this great achievement. And how was your experience in the Jessup competition? Let's begin with Tabarak.
At the beginning it can get quite overwhelming, especially when it is technically my first competition ever to participate in, and it is the number one competition ever in the world when it comes to law. Okay. So it was quite overwhelming, but we are AUIB students. We love a little challenge. Okay. We focus mostly on teamwork. Yes. And we learned a lot about teamwork. We learned from our mistakes. We did something very nice, that we saw the strengths and weaknesses of our colleagues within the team. So we gave each one of us the task accordingly with their strengths, and we worked to help them with their weaknesses. So we created a very, very good team. Each one of us was doing what they loved, and it became way less overwhelming throughout the rounds because we were very, very supportive of each other.
Okay, so Afnan, what are you going to say about that?
I would say that the team was split into two parts. Me and Tebaarak were the main speakers in this competition, and Mariam Khalid and Mohammed Haider were the best researchers. We were so packed with a lot of research that we were so ready to conquer the questions of the judges and to even discuss them further in the competition. I think this is one of the strengths that we basically have.
Well, that's really great. Can you tell us about the stage of the competition, how you started in the national rounds and how you qualified for the international rounds in Washington, D.C.? Because I think there is second phases, the first phase and the second phase.
Yeah, indeed. So first of all, we submitted our memo. And then our memo got accepted with no penalties, thank God. And then we started with the rounds. You first go through rounds for the applicant or the respondent, accordingly with what the judges would choose to you. And then after that, you would go to the semifinals within the national rounds and then to the finals. We basically won the rounds at the beginning, the semifinals, and we got qualified at the end for Washington, D.C. So it was against about 8 to 10 Iraqi universities, and we managed to do very amazing. The other participants were very friendly and nice, and it was such a good experience to learn about the other law students in Iraq and how they are learning and how they are participating and practicing for Jessup, because it's such an exciting experience.
Well, that's perfect. What about you, Afnan?
I would say that the most challenging part was not the other teams or the other teams' efforts, but the questions of the judges, or I would say the unpredictable questions of the judges. We were able to answer them very perfectly and explain them in detail. I think in the international rounds, we would work more on the feedback that we received from the judges or the panel, and I think we would do a great job in the international rounds in Washington, D.C.
Well, that's perfect. I have to ask you a lot of questions today about this competition, and the Jessup competition requires a high research and legal skills. How did your team prepare for these challenges? I mean, you have to have knowledge in legal stuff and also knowledge in research, and it's two different fields.
Actually, I disagree. Research and legal stuff are not two different fields. They're actually the exact same thing. They go together. And for a good lawyer to be a good lawyer, they need to be a good researcher.
Yes.
Because you need to know the law before actually applying it.
All the time.
So what we did here, we actually read the case point by point, and we were discussing what is the thing that is researchable in this point. And it was about 71 points that we read one by one over hours and hours and days, and we repeated them. So we pointed to which issue and how can we search the issue. What are the bullet points that we are trying to get from this specific point? And we did that accordingly within the other 71. We started researching, and then we started writing. We started reading each other's writing and give feedbacks about each other's writing. And I was telling my colleagues, and my colleagues were telling me, I was like, guys, emotions are not a thing when it comes to a competition or like Jessup. Tell me only the terrible bad feedback. I want to improve, because you cannot improve with good feedback. Okay, maybe I know this is good, but just let's tell each other the bad feedback about each other's work. And that's why we're so prepared when it comes to our memo, and that's why our memo got no penalties when it comes to our writing skills or the research, because we were given bad feedback, but we were helping each other learn.
Well, that's a great idea. No one think of that. Give me a bad feedback so I can just correct my work. And this is really humble from you to just say bad things and I will be okay. Well, what about you, Afnan?
We pulled a lot of all-nighters to read the case more and more. We went through the case a lot of times, and each member was tasked with a particular issue within the case to solve and to also research. So as speakers, we not only orally advocated for the case, but we actually did the research as well, which is mostly challenging, very challenging.
Well, that's perfect. How did you feel when your university achieved a significant milestone by winning the Best Oralist Award and twice a time, with both of your speakers securing the first and the second place in this category? What was the feeling?
Well, it was very, very exciting because usually in Jessup, in the national rounds, they choose only one student from each university.
Okay.
So to have one student getting first and second within the best oralist category, it was very exciting. But it just shows the fruits of our hard work throughout the practicing and participation. And we were very happy, very proud of our amazing Associated Dean Ms. Kansa, who was a great supporter for us, and our team members who worked very hard to support us to actually achieve that. That just shows that our efforts did not just go to vain.
Well, I have to say, I send my greetings to Ms. Khansa. She's the Dean of the College of Law in AUIB, and she's doing a remarkable job day by day and every day in AUIB to make the AUIB law students are very well known and have the best of the best while they are in the academic journey. And this is really rare, but you have it. You're lucky. So have the best time. What about you, Afnan? Can you tell me what's your opinion?
Just like Tebaarak said, we were so supported by Dr. Khansa that I was actually confident that we're going to achieve something in the national rounds. Not only we were qualified, but we got the best two oralist award, which is extraordinary actually, because it's rare for like in the national rounds to for like two persons or two teammates from a particular team to win the best oralist. I think it's very rare. However, we were very qualified to take this award, basically.
Well, I think both of you deserve that, to achieve that, all the law team who participate in this competition, because you prepared very well and you are true to yourself when it's come to just joining this competition to win something, not only to be mentioned in these competitions.
I would say, and I would add to that, the judges were so impressed by me and Tebaarak that they said that, is this normal in Iraq? Like,
I mean, you made it.
Yeah, we made it. But
so, what the challenges did you face during the preparation for competition and the national rounds, and how did you overcome them?
Well, at the beginning, it was, as I said before, it was quite overwhelming because when you see a lot of work, a lot of research in front of you, and you feel like, okay, I didn't start yet, I'm late, or this and that. But I think what we learned from these challenges is how to solve them, because when it comes to being overwhelmed, you need to have support from your team members, and Mariam did an amazing job with that. And
she's the spirit of the team.
She was just telling us, you guys are good. Because when you have a fear of, for example, failure, of not doing enough, you're not going to do anything in the first place. You're going to procrastinate.
Yes.
So we worked on actually just working. Even when you don't feel like it, just work, just do it. You don't have to do it perfectly, just do it. And that really helped us, is that even if we were not doing it as perfectly as we wanted in that day, we were basically improving day after another because we were consistent.
Okay.
So consistency was a key here. We were just training every day, and like even
but is it challenging because you're studying also?
Of course. I mean, we have 24 hours a day.
Yes.
We can do it at 4 a.m., 5 a.m., maybe 12 or 1, because we were not only willing to win for the sake of winning,
yes.
or we were not willing to get qualified for just the sake of, oh yeah, national rounds. No, our goal in the long run is to be also qualified within the international rounds for like top 10, top 30, because this is an opportunity to create something in the history of Iraq.
Okay.
Not only the history of the American university. No, this is the history of Iraq. Iraq never won or was never qualified for even top 10 or top 30 in Jessup competition. So if you have this opportunity to do something, to write your name within history, you would do your absolute best to do that.
Okay. So what about you, Afnan?
Just like Tebaarak said, it's a responsibility that I took very seriously. So we were basically preparing very seriously, and the goal was not to be perfect, but to be consistent with like practicing mock trials and research. I think that's what actually got us to be qualified.
Okay, well, that's perfect. You mentioned Ms. Khansa, the Dean of the College of Law at AUIB, but I want also to ask you, how did the university supported you during the competition? What is the role did the coaches and the supervisors play enhancing your performance there? I mean, is it just Ms. Khansa, or there is a lot of academic persons who just contribute to the journey?
Well, first of all, our team was basically self-trained. So Miss Kansa was
Wow.
there to support us. She was there
I
to...
have to say wow.
Thank you. She was there to support us. She was there to push us to do better, and she was giving us feedback as well.
Okay.
And but she was like, okay, do you want it, like somebody to train you or anything? We tell her like what we learned here is enough.
Okay.
We can like research and do the work ourselves and work accordingly. So
And
she was...
she also was she was also the professor of international law course.
Yeah.
So we gained a lot of like experience when it comes to international law principles, which helped us in the Jessup competition.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we are mentioning the Jessup competition, but I have to just ask you, what sets the Jessup competition apart from other legal competition? Because this is not the only competition in the legal field.
Yes.
What is the amazing thing about this competition?
I would say that it is one of the oldest competitions in the legal field. It has been there since 1966, I think.
Yeah.
It's a really old competition, and a lot of universities and countries contribute and participate in this competition. I would say that this is what makes what makes it a very prestigious competition.
Okay. So was there a specific moment during the competition that stood out the most for you?
Yeah, actually.
A lot.
A lot.
It's personal, but say
A
it
lot.
in
Well,
front of the listeners.
in the semifinals,
Yes.
before the semifinals, actually, we got asked about 34 questions
Okay.
from the judges in one session. And it was a lot of questions.
34?
34 questions in one
God.
session.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a dictionary.
So being under pressure would
Okay.
help you actually act under pressure. And this is a skill that is very well needed through your work. I mean, when you are actually in real life, in real court, the judge would
Okay.
ask you questions that you never thought about. You would
Okay.
have to improvise. You would have to think at the moment and actually talk about it.
Okay.
That's why you have to have an overview, an overview of legal knowledge when it comes
Okay.
to the case, and you have to know everything and anything about it, because you can be asked everything. One of the questions actually was irrelevant to the case in a sense that it was more political.
A lot
And
of them.
Oh my
yeah,
God.
and that was one of the tests of the judges, is that would you go to your own personal bias, or would you keep representing your client? Here
Yeah.
I gave them the most diplomatic answer,
And
which
what was
like,
it?
which was like, I understand your question, I appreciate it, but here's the facts, and this question does not relate to the facts, so I would not answer it.
Okay, that's really clever.
Yeah.
We are women. No one can face us.
Period.
We're diplomatic in natural ways. Okay, what about you, Afnan?
I would say one of the hardest moments was when the judge asked me an unexpected question that challenged the core of my argument. So I took a pause for a second and I was like, okay, I'm gonna answer you. Thank you for your question. And I gave them the perfect answer that basically answered their curiosity, let's say.
Well, that's perfect. And at the end, you know how to handle things. This is the most important things. Do you have any advice for students who wish to participate in legal competition in the future?
Well,
Both of you. The question is for both of you.
just do it.
Okay.
Don't seek perfection, seek knowledge, because what you can get from this the most is knowledge that is never regretful. You might
Yes.
regret you trying to make yourself always perfect and do it 10 out of 10, but you would never regret any knowledge you would get.
Okay.
Even on the long run, you would never regret the name of Jessup or Vismot or any competition written on
Okay.
your CV, and your effort being shown within your work in the future. So just do it. Don't worry
Well,
about
that's
it.
perfect. Thank you for this advice. And what about you, Afnan? What's your advice for all the people who want to contribute in such a competitions?
I would say to be authentic and be yourself and be confident while concurring the questions of the panel or a moot court in general, and do not compare your effort to other teams or other students' effort, because that would actually challenges your argument or your intense legal research. And just do it, just like Tamara says. Just do it.
Okay, that's perfect. So how can such competition contribute to the development of the legal environment in Iraq? Because you said that it is really beneficial and there's a lot of profitable things in the future comes out of this competition.
So basically, when you are trying to work within the international level, you are given the market something that they don't have.
Okay.
And it's about supply and demand. Here we have a lot of a huge demand when it comes to international law, when it comes to common law, but there is no supply. There are no students.
Okay.
And this is what these competitions are solving, and what also the American University is solving, is that you are learning how to play in Arabic already, and you are learning how to play in English, learning how to research and work within the two languages. And it's not as vain as like two languages only. No,
Okay.
it's a whole different world. You need to swim within
Okay.
the oceans of both Arabic and English. So
This is my dad's advice. How did you know it? Okay, complete.
So, and when you are swimming in both oceans, you would never drown throughout your work. Any
Yes.
opportunity that would come to you, you would jump right in.
That's perfect. What
Yeah.
about you, Afnan?
Well, that's what actually AUIB does here. We study common law and civil law at the same time, so we're like familiar and fully familiar with concepts when it comes to common law and civil law in both Arabic and English. So that's the reason why we were qualified. And again, with a lot of practice and mock trials, we were also qualified to plead in the international rounds.
Well, that's perfect. And I'm just about to say the last questions. It is very fruitful conversation with both of you, and I'm really proud with both of you to just have this conversation. But after this experience, do you consider pursuing an academic or professional career in international law?
I would say that the Jessup thing really motivated me into getting into international law and to be in the future a human rights lawyer.
Okay.
And actually it is what pushed me to be a member of the American Society of International Law, where I attended a lot of conferences on human rights, human trafficking, and a lot of situations of international law within the international community, just like the mid-year meeting in Chicago in the United States and the annual meeting in Washington, D.C., where we discussed a lot of concepts when it comes to human rights in business, human rights, and like, for example, the law of the seas and whatsoever.
So you can both of you contribute in the Jessup competition, and it was what is the country that the Jessup held in?
So in the national rounds, it was held in Arabic, but international
Okay.
rounds, it would be held in Washington, D.C.
Okay, so do you have any dreams of having a very well-known competition in the legal field that is be sponsored or held in AUIB?
Of course.
The mic is yours.
I was trying to hope actually that the Jessup would be held here in AUIB, because this is the perfect environment where students can actually like basically practice moot court here.
Well, that's perfect. What
Yeah.
about you?
Of course, I mean, we hope to do that within the AUIB, because AUIB is very, very supportive of the experiences that these students are getting. So basically, they are getting the passion. They are having the passion that AUIB needs and always thrives to get within their students.
Okay.
So I'm pretty sure that AUIB would be more than happy to get such competitions within their
So can
grounds.
you name one of these very best competition in the law field?
Of course.
Jessup?
Jessup.
So that's it. Afnan and Tabarak, I'm really happy and proud to have you today at the Student Spotlight segments in the Student Voice Show. I wish the both of you the best of luck in other competition in the future. And the last minute is for you. The mic is yours if you want to say anything to the listeners or anyone you want to send message to.
Thank you so much for having us here. We're
You're
so
welcome.
happy
You're
to
welcome.
present our awards.
You're welcome anytime.
Thank you so
So-
much, and we hope our experience encourage and help other students who are within our experiences or within our age, who are planning, if now or in the future, to do something within the international field or with any law competition. We hope that even if we created 1% change in someone's mind now to support them to do better, we are so proud of them now, and we are so excited to see what they can do in the future. Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Afnan. Thank you, Tabarak.